Have you ever heard that animals can sense what our eyes can't see? On an ordinary night, a random camera deep in the countryside captured something unbelievable: two silent crafts gliding across the sky, and, as if following an invisible command, all the animals on the farm froze in place. What hides in the shadows of our world? This account was sent to our channel by someone who asked to remain anonymous. The experience you're about to hear changed this person's life forever, and to this day, they're still trying to understand what really happened. Before we start, like and follow the channel so you don't miss the upcoming stories, which, for national security reasons, could be taken down at any time. I never thought my life could change so drastically because of something I didn't even believe was possible. My name doesn't matter. All I can say is that I live on an isolated farm, deep in the countryside, surrounded only by cornfields, open skies, and an almost absolute silence during the early hours. That particular night, everything seemed normal. The only difference was that I had installed a new security camera system a few weeks earlier. It was just an extra precaution against intruders or wild animals, nothing more. Never, not even in my worst nightmares, did I imagine those cameras would capture something that would shatter my understanding of reality. Around 2 a.m., I woke up feeling uneasy. A strange sensation, like something was wrong. But what was odd was that there was no noise at all. Nothing. Not even the sound of the wind brushing against the cornfield. Just an absolute silence that seemed to weigh on my chest. Driven by instinct, I decided to check the camera feed on my phone. That's when I saw it. On the screen, in the middle of the darkness, two massive objects appeared, floating over the cornfield. They made no noise. No engine sound, nothing. Just gliding through the air as if gravity didn't apply to them. The crafts were enormous, with pale, pulsing lights that seemed to be scanning the ground. The image was clear enough to make out details in the structures. Strange geometric shapes, almost hypnotic. But what really sent chills down my spine was seeing the animals. All of them, without exception, were completely still. Horses, cows, chickens, frozen in place as if time itself had stopped. None of them moved, not even a blink. It was like time had been suspended. My heart was racing. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine, and for a moment I myself was paralyzed, unable to move or tear my eyes away from the screen. I knew, at that moment, that I wasn't alone. And the most terrifying feeling was that, whatever was flying over my farm, it knew I was watching. Then, in an even more surreal turn, one of the crafts began to descend toward the cornfield, emitting a bluish glow that lit up everything around it. The image on the screen became unstable, shaking, as if some invisible force was interfering with the camera signal. At that moment, a single thought consumed my mind. I needed to get out of there. But how, if it felt like even time itself was being controlled? And this was just the beginning. I tried to move, but my body wouldn't respond. It felt like an invisible presence was weighing down on me, suffocating, crushing. Everything inside me was screaming to run, to hide, to do something, but all I could do was keep staring at the screen, powerless. The closest craft was descending slowly, and in that movement, I saw something that made me question my sanity. Under the bluish light it emitted, the cornfield began to bend, as if something invisible was pressing the plants down into perfect circles. This wasn't the wind. It wasn't natural. It was something controlled. My mind tried to rationalize it, but my instincts knew. I was witnessing something beyond our understanding. A real extraterrestrial encounter. The camera, which had been transmitting clear images until then, started to glitch again. Beams of light streaked across the screen in distorted lines, accompanied by a low humming that I could feel more than hear. That's when, from the center of that intense light, figures began to emerge. I swear on everything that's sacred. Humanoid shapes, extremely thin, with disproportionately large heads and long limbs, moving in absolute silence through the cornfield. They weren't running. They weren't in a hurry. They walked as if they knew exactly where they were going, and that no one would be able to stop them. Terror took over me. It was a primal fear, instinctive. The kind you feel when you realize you're no longer the dominant species. Acting on instinct, I shut off my phone's screen and ran to the front door to lock it, as if a simple lock could stop something like that. The strangest thing was that even as I ran, the world around me remained submerged in that sepulchral silence. No dog barking, no horse neighing. It was like all life around had been placed on pause. I hid behind a heavy piece of furniture and stayed there, curled up, listening to my own heartbeat pounding so loudly it felt like it echoed through the house. Minutes, that felt like hours, passed until, through the window, I saw the bluish light intensify again, followed by a dry snap, like the very air had torn open. When I finally gathered enough courage to look at my phone again, the camera feed was back to normal. But there was nothing there anymore. The crafts were gone. The creatures were gone too. The farm animals slowly started to move again, as if waking from a deep trance. The cornfield, however, it was no longer the same. The cameras had recorded everything, every second, and even now, as I write this account, my heart races just remembering those figures moving across the field, as if they owned that piece of the world for a few minutes. If you've made it this far, it's because you, too, feel there's something we don't understand or something much bigger than us. Follow our channel so you don't miss the upcoming stories, which, due to national security reasons, could be taken down at any time. Don't wait, you might miss your chance to hear the truth. I wanted to believe it had all just been a dream. I wanted to find a logical explanation. Maybe an experimental drone, maybe a hallucination caused by exhaustion. Anything that didn't involve the idea that I had witnessed an alien encounter. But with every step I took around the farm the next morning, reality became harder and harder to ignore. In the middle of the cornfield, where the lights had touched the ground, there were perfect circles, so symmetrical that no farming machinery could have made them. The corn inside those circles was bent, not broken, as if some unknown force had pressed down the plants without completely damaging them. And there was more. Some of the animals were acting strangely. Horses that had always been gentle turned aggressive, restless, as if they could still feel the presence of whatever had passed through. Cows refused to go near the circles in the cornfield. Chickens scattered, clucking in panic, for no apparent reason. The air felt different, denser, heavier, as if, somehow, the land had absorbed something that didn't belong to this world. I started reviewing the camera recordings. At first, everything looked exactly as I remembered. The crafts, the blue force field, the creatures gliding through the crop. But then I noticed something even more disturbing. In one of the recordings, right in the corner of the screen, I saw a shadow that hadn't been there before. It was the silhouette of a figure, standing very close to the house, staring directly at the camera, or rather at me. My stomach turned. I had been watched that night, much closer than I had imagined. In the following days, other strange things started happening. Cell phone signal interference. Metallic sounds coming from nowhere, as if something was vibrating underground. Lights flickering in the night sky, always around the same time the incident occurred. I isolated myself even more. I didn't want to tell anyone. Who would believe me? I would just be ridiculed, labeled as crazy. But deep down, I knew. I had been chosen to see something that wasn't meant to be seen. One night, I woke up with a start, a bright light piercing through the cracks in the window. I ran to the door and, heart pounding, crawled to an opening in the barn to watch without being seen. And there they were again. Not two. This time, 3 crafts hovering over the same spot. But something was different. I felt, with crushing certainty, that this time it wasn't just an observation. They were looking for something, or someone. And in that moment, I realized, maybe it was me. That night, I couldn't do anything but hide in the darkest corner of the barn, holding my breath, as if that could make my presence invisible. The lights from the 3 crafts danced silently over the cornfield, and every second seemed to stretch into eternity. I wanted to believe it was just another flyover, another silent collection like before. But everything inside me said otherwise. I felt a strange pull, a pressure inside my mind, as if something was calling me, trying to drag me out of the fragile safety I had found. The crafts didn't make any sudden movements. There were no loud sounds, no alarms. Just that low, deep hum, almost imperceptible, vibrating in my bones, like an echo from another dimension. After a few minutes, that felt like hours, the lights slowly began to pull away. The crafts rose into the sky, and in the blink of an eye, disappeared as if they had never existed. Silence returned. But this time, it wasn't the heavy, oppressive silence from the first visit. It was a different kind of silence, a silence of emptiness, of absence. When I finally managed to get up and return to the house, something caught my attention. The security camera that had captured everything was burned out, completely destroyed, as if it had been hit by an electrical surge so intense it melted part of the plastic casing. The scariest part, there was no data left in the system. No images, no videos, no trace of that night. It was as if they knew exactly what they were doing, as if they wanted to erase every sign of their presence, except for the memory they left inside me. Since then, I've been living in a constant state of alert. I avoid looking at the sky at night. I replaced all the cameras, rebuilt the property's security system, but deep down, I know it won't matter if they decide to come back. I often wonder, why me? What did they see in me? Did they leave something inside me that I haven't noticed yet? The experience changed me, not just because of the feeling of vulnerability, but because now I carry a certainty that I never had before. We are not alone. We never have been. Alien abduction stories, encounters with extraterrestrials, UFO sightings. Everything I once viewed with skepticism is now part of my own story. And maybe the most terrifying thing of all is knowing they could come back at any moment, silent, invisible, unstoppable. This is the truth many refuse to accept. But I was there. I saw it. And once you see, you can never go back to being the same. Even now, I still tremble remembering that light cutting across the sky. Did they really leave? Or are they still watching us, waiting for the right moment to return? What do you think? Leave your comment. And remember, like and share this video so more people can hear stories like this, before they disappear forever.